What does Lex Luthor, Wally West Flash, and the rise of the Joker in Gotham all have in common? They're all part of massive reveals that have been dropped by DC with the dawn of DC era. And we've compiled some of the best ones, so let's talk about it. What's up, my comic comrades? The dawn of DC is in full swing with several new titles kicking off over the past couple of weeks. And all of them have been dropping huge story bombs to go along with this new DC initiative. And since there's been some pretty interesting stuff happening, we're gonna run through all the awesomeness today to let you know what's going on, starting with Superman. In the brand new Superman title written by Josh Williamson, issue 4 to be exact, we find out that Lex Luthor was the first hero of Metropolis before Clark Kent even left Smallville and became Superman. We find this out after Superman reluctantly agrees to work with Lex and the Super Corps he created for Superman. But Superman is like Lex, you're not living up to your end of the deal. You're still withholding information on these supposed enemies of yours, Dr. Farm and Graft, which is one of the reasons Lex wants to team up with Supes to take them down. Luthor tells him, you're not ready, but Superman forces his hand. Lex then says, only if you know this story, as we learn right out of high school, Lex moved to Metropolis and used his genius to try to help the city from evil, like Dr. Farm and Graft, who were experimenting on the homeless. Lex made his own super suit and everything using gadgets of his own invention to take down Farm and Graft. And while we see that he saved a bunch of the homeless they took captive, he never brought Dr. Farm and Graft down completely. After Lex tells this story, Superman says, you're lying, with Luthor replying, I'm certainly not. So how crazy is this? Lex Luthor was the first hero of Metropolis, not Supes. Certainly a crazy revelation. Anyway, the funny thing is Lex continues to tell Superman, are you so stubborn that you believe you were the only hero Metropolis has ever had? Is it so impossible that I cleaned these streets long before you? So this is just kind of nuts, right? That after all these decades of Superman stories, we're finding out that Lex apparently tried to be a hero for Metropolis before Superman ever came to the city. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. It definitely works within the story, but I don't know if I like it in the grand scheme of things added to the overall mythos of Superman. What I'm saying is I don't know if I dig Superman not being the first hero of Metropolis, as he's known for being the hero of that city. At the same time, it of course makes sense that Lex Luthor, with his arrogance, thought that he could be the savior of Metropolis, but it didn't pan out, and then when Superman came and did what he couldn't, it started his hatred for Superman. So I don't know, I'm kind of like on it, but the more I talk it out, the more I like it, and it kind of makes sense. In any case, that's just one of the many big revelations DC has dropped on us recently, so let's move on to the next one in Titans issue 1. But first, unlike the Lex Luthor reveal, you know what I'm not on the fence on? The dope gear we just picked up from Holzkern. We partnered with them for today's video because we freaking love their designs and how they use wood, stone, and other natural materials to create really unique and amazing watches, fanlets, rings, and more. In fact, they sent us several items Tim and I really love, including their carbon model watch. Look at that glorious thing. It's an automatic watch with a unique skeleton design and see-through caseback, made from colored maple wood, scratch-resistant sapphire glass, and gray stainless steel. They also sent over these two insanely cool rings. The numerary ring is made of stainless steel and silver with a core composed of Hawaiian koa wood, which is fittingly guaranteed to be waterproof, and the engravings on it call back to that ancient tribal vibe. Then the Cartesian, which I'm wearing now, is a 3-material combo of walnut wood, cork, and silver stainless steel. They also sent over a couple pairs of their men's sunglasses, and they're probably the nicest glasses I've ever owned. So good. But we're not alone. With over 1 million happy customers and 10 stores throughout Austria and Germany, Holzkern has made a name for themselves as a leading brand for wooden watches and natural jewelry. You really need to check them out. You can grab yours today through the link in the description, and when you use our code VARIANT15, you'll get 15% off. Everyone also gets free shipping to the US and most European countries within 2 to 5 days. They have plenty of men's and women's styles, so grab something for yourself or share the love. Just click the link in the description. Now let's move back to the next big reveal for Dawn of DC. In Titans 1, Wally West is murdered. But what's crazier than his death at the beginning of the brand new series that makes the Titans the premier hero team in the DC universe, taking over for the Justice League, is that Wally West was killed by a damn bullet. That's right, the fastest man alive was killed by a mere bullet. On the first page of the issue, we see Wally get shot with him holding his chest saying, I'm the Flash, the fastest man alive, but I can't beat this. The bullet has already pierced my heart. Normally, I could outrun a bullet or vibrate fast enough for it to pass through me, but I couldn't stop this. I was shot in the back from point blank range. I'm going to be dead in seconds. I can do a lot in seconds. As he runs to tell his family, he loves them. He continues to say, but there's nothing I could do to save my own life. My fate is sealed, as he gets shot a second time while trying to change fate via the cosmic treadmill. Then on the last 2 pages pages of the issue, Nightwing and the Titans notice a blood trail leading into Titan's tower, where they find Wally lying on the floor dead with monitors saying, "Solve it," as in Wally's death. Crazy, and I just can't believe a bullet killed the fastest man alive. A freaking bullet, guys. This is the fastest man alive. This can't be any normal bullet. No way. Wally even said, "I can outrun a bullet or vibrate fast enough for it to pass through me." And then gives an example saying, "I once ran backwards faster than the velocity of a bullet that hit me, so it simply left my body the way it came." But for whatever reason, he couldn't stop this one, meaning there's something special about this bullet or the person that shot it, meaning we're gonna find out in future issues what that is. Because I refuse to believe the writer of this series, who is Tom Taylor, a fantastic writer who wrote most of the Injustice series, all of Deceased, and the current Nightwing series, is simply saying that a normal bullet from point blank range can hit the Flash. The same exact Flash that once outran death itself. No shot. So there's definitely more to this that we're gonna find out as the story continues. Also, how are they going to bring Wally back? And what's up with DC even killing him in the first place? Hasn't DC put Wally West through enough in recent years? Heroes in Crisis, anyone? In that story, Wally was responsible for the death of several heroes and got locked up for it, which is a whole other rant and topic I'm not gonna get into right now because that was annoying. Point is, come on DC, leave Wally alone, give him a break. But keeping this going, we have Batman the Brave and the Bold. Batman the Brave and the Bold 1 is a brand new series from DC that is re-exploring the first year of the Caped Crusader in Gotham City. Specifically, the rise of the Joker before he became a household name in Gotham. In the issue, we see Gordon and the GCPD go to the Claridge estate to protect him as we find out his life and expensive diamond have been threatened by this so-called Joker, who is probably a 12-year-old getting his kicks by making us eat our own tails, as Gordon says. In between this, we see Batman go after and strike fear into a man who killed his wife. And of course, we also see the Joker, who has tricked a lost little girl at the park to go with him by giving her a balloon all Pennywise style. We later learn that the Joker already stole Claridge's diamond and planted toxin to kill him at midnight, dying with the infamous Joker grin, shocking Gordon. We also see the Joker take the little girl back to her dad's, who's extremely grateful, as no one knows the Joker yet, but the Joker just kills him in front of the girl. The girl cries saying, "I don't get it," with the Joker replying, "Don't worry, you will, everyone will." So these are some of Joker's first twisted acts that puts him on Batman's radar, which is just wild to see. I mean, think about it, we're getting to re-see Batman and Joker's first meeting, or how Batman came to know about the Joker. Because they even reference the story Batman the Man Who Laughs, which is an iconic one-shot Batman story that tells us about Batman and the Joker's first encounter with each other. In fact, in this issue, on the second page, Gordon is mad that him and half of the police force are sent to Claridge's estate for what he thinks is a paranoid goose chase. Then one of the officers says, "You never know, Captain. You are the boss. Just because the other one didn't turn out doesn't mean the next one won't." Hard to argue with. Gordon replies, "The great and powerful commissioner didn't spend a month working the reservoir the last time this fellow called in a threat on the radio. A month of testing, searching, and investigating, coming up with nothing. I'm going to poison all of Gotham's water tomorrow at dawn. I'm going to kill Harry Claridge and steal his precious diamonds tonight at midnight. This so-called Joker is probably a 12-year-old kid getting his kicks by making us eat our own tails. Maybe mommy wouldn't leave the nightlight on. Had to tell another merry lie to get him through the night." But see, the reservoir and poisoning all of Gotham's water is a reference to Batman the Man Who Laughs, which is kind of awesome, but also what I find more intriguing is getting to see iconic Batman characters like Jim Gordon not even believe this Joker fellow is real. Again, we're only one issue in, and it's super interesting to see how at first Gordon and Batman had no idea what kind of monster they were truly dealing with. I also really like Batman's portion of this comic, where he didn't really even do much. He straight up just used his demeanor to scare the man he's tracking down who killed his wife. In fact, Batman only says 3 words to him the entire time, as the man tells Batman, "I'm a good person. I deserve some justice." Batman replies, "Yes, you do," as he stomps on his face. And lastly, of course, we have the Joker bit of the story, and in this rendition of his first introduction, he's capturing a poor, innocent little girl, taking her back to her father, only to kill her father in front of her with a knife. As she cries saying, "I don't get it," with him making the point to her and us, the readers, "Don't worry, you will, everyone will." Followed by him laughing hysterically. Dude is straight up declaring war, which is ultimately going to make its way to Batman, and I'm here for it. It's always fun to go back in time and see how things started for certain characters, and these are 2 of the most iconic characters ever, so let's go. Next up, let's talk about Ultramorpho. Now, we all know Metamorpho, aka former adventurer Rex Mason turned Element Man by his future father-in-law Simon Stagg, who wanted him unalive. But DC just gave us Ultramorpho in Batman Superman World's Finest issues 14 and 15. Now in this story, Simon Stagg is killed with Batman suspecting Metamorpho did it, as he has the motive since Stagg turned Mason into Metamorpho, not wanting him to be with his daughter. But Metamorpho is offended when confronted, saying, "Hell no, wasn't me." After this, Jimmy Olsen apparently finds evidence that Bruce Wayne killed Stagg, but of course he didn't, which even Superman knows. Long story short, evidence leads Superman and Robin to Professor Ivo's lab, thinking he's behind this, but when they get there, Ivo's voice says, "In order to frame Metamorpho, I had to build something better than him." Mason can replicate only the elements in the human body, rather a limited menu. So Ivo created something that could transform into any element on the periodic table and beyond, including kryptonite. Enter Ultramorpho, who instantly takes down Superman with his kryptonite arm. Because of Ultramorpho's ability to mimic any element on the periodic table and beyond, he theoretically is DC's new biggest threat, as he could transform into any poisonous gas, substance, material, or liquid in the universe. Now this series isn't the main continuity, but it's still awesome nonetheless. But it only gets crazier from here, as Robin is trying to hold off Ultramorpho, who's turned into a whole kryptonite person now, to take down Superman. Metamorpho and Batman show up. But Batman shows up wearing the freaking Metal Men as bat armor. That's right, he had the Metal Men shapeshift into this awesome armor for himself, wearing mercury, iron, lead, gold, and so on as armor. And a nice little Easter egg on top of all this is the fact that the bat symbol on his chest is the 1989 Keaton bat symbol with that extra little spikes on the bat tail. So cool. With Batman's Metal Men Megazord color looking armor, he starts laying into Ultramorpho. The Metal Men eventually come off Batman and wrap themselves around Ultramorpho so Superman could get a shot at it, as one of the Metal Men make an armor around Superman to protect him from the kryptonite. But it's no use, Ultramorpho creates some poisonous gas and acid to knock everyone out before leaving with an unconscious Batman and Superman. Now, here's the real kicker. Batman and Superman later wake up with inhibitor collars around their neck. They see they're in some kind of assembly line place with several other masters of robotics and advanced AI building something, also with inhibitor collars around their neck. Superman eventually finds Ivo, thinking he's the one who's keeping them prisoner there, but finds out that Ivo is in fact a prisoner himself. So he's not the one behind all of this. We then find out the true person behind Ultramorpho, Stagg's death, and everything else is a Mazo 2.0, aka New Mazo, as he dubs himself. And he declares to Batman and Superman he's the end of the human race. So you know how like Terminator warned us that Skynet would rise up and machines would take over its creators? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here. So this story has been crazy thus far. I mean, within 3 issues of the story arc, we've gotten Ultramorpho, a Metal Man Batman armor, and New Mazo. Mark Waid and Dan Mora have been killing it on this story and whole series. This title has been fantastic from the start. I highly recommend you read this series. But now that brings us to our last bomb that DC has dropped recently, and that's a revelation about Harley Quinn's hyenas, Bud and Lou. DC just revealed in Dawn of DC Harley Quinn issue 29 that her hyenas, Bud and Lou, are not real. They have apparently been figments of her imagination this whole time, all the way back to her Batman the Animated Series days. But more specifically, they're actually servants of the Lord of Chaos that only she's been able to see all this time. How much of a mind F is that to swallow? They reveal this in an epilogue of issue 29. The hyenas straight up tell Harley, Bud and Lou were never merely your animal companions, oh sadly deluded wench, but rather secretly sinister servants of an all-powerful yet heretofore unmentioned Lord of Chaos. And we weaponize your own anarchic and capricious aura to summon our dark master to your direly doomed dimension. They go on to say, we've been nothing but comforting figments of your lonely imagination all along. Everyone else has been humoring you about your imaginary hyena friends all these years, Harley, as we see flashbacks of the Joker and Batman doing just that. One of which is a flashback from the Mad Love episode and comic from the new Batman adventures. This is just absolutely insane, which I guess fits with the character, as Harley is insane, but what a twist. I'm so curious to see where this goes or how this will play out in the future. The funny thing is, as you're reading the story, you're like, Harley is just having a trip or dreaming, and Harley herself thinks the same thing. So she says, okay, that's enough, I'm waking up now, understand? So she wakes up with Bud and Lou back to normal. Saying plain old vanilla Bud and Lou are back, I see. No more shocking revelations or obnoxious rants for a bit, I hope, as she pets them and says, to be clear, you two don't talk, correct? As they make animal sounds. As she walks away saying, that's better, best leave the blithering and blabbering to old Harley, fellas. But when she walks away, they start talking to each other, saying, guess we better hold off on telling her that we are in fact fully articulate, multiversal, all anthropomorphic hyenas for a bit, Lou. With Lou saying, good call, Bud. Confirming that this is in fact a revelation and retcon and not a dream. They really are servants of the Lord of Chaos that only she could see after all these years. I can't get over this. Like I said earlier, I imagine they're gonna play with this more in the future, but this is too big of a revelation to not touch on again. But what do you guys think? These are just some of the massive revelations and things DC has been doing with their characters and continuity lately, but which one is your favorite? And are you excited for the dawn of DC as we are? Because so far, things have been pretty damn good. Even the DC titles that aren't technically under the dawn of DC era, like Batman, Superman, World's Finest, have been great. DC overall, I think, has been doing a good job right now with their comics. But you can bet as soon as they drop more bombs and revelations on us, we'll be right back here letting you all know about it. But again, let us know what your favorite revelation has been from DC lately down in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you next time when we talk some Spider-Punk.